Alright, this is Nate again. I did some maintenance on my phone and now I can finish this video. I left off kind of talking about the suspension. I think it's decent now. I'm a little leery about when I put the ESC in here. It's going to be a tight fit. I'm glad I got this little receiver working. I thought it was broken, but it works. As compared to one of these guys, which work fine. You know, it's maybe, let's see, I don't know, maybe half the size. Maybe this isn't working out so well, is it? All right. Let's see. A little less than half. So any little bit helps, as I'm sure everybody well knows in here. You don't have a lot of real estate. But one question I had is, I know there are aluminum upgrade front hubs that are, I think they're the TA02 knuckles are the same. I don't know. I don't know that it's necessary to upgrade them. They might look pretty cool though. I may do that at some point. I am a little concerned about these arms. They're very thin. ABS, I believe, and same as the top. Very thin there. So I'm thinking those are going to have to be dealt with at some point. I do want to put a brace on here, like that connects to those screws that are the pivot point for the upper A arms. I'm designing one. We'll see how it fits. I think I can get it to go over, focus. Let's see, go over that boss and then sandwich a little bit in between the screw head, because these are long on the front, and there's a little overhang. If it'll focus, you'll see it. Yeah, there it is. So I can back them out a little bit. So that's the plan there. One other area, I wanted to get some different wheels and tires. I just figure out what fits this thing. I guess any buggy, four-wheel drive, 12mm wheels and tires will work. And I noticed I can get the dark impact wheels, but the tires are very difficult to get. I think they're discontinued. So I don't know what these are. I don't know if they're 2.2 or 1.9. I don't know what fits that. Kind of new. I'm trying to get back into the hobby. So if anybody knows kind of what I should do for wheels and tires, I wanted to get some street tires, and I wanted to get some more modern tires and wheels too. But I like these super grippers. I'll run those. Yeah, it's weird that they re-released this car a few years ago, I guess, a pretty long time ago, and now a lot of the parts are discontinued. Like those aluminum, there's a company that makes those aluminum arms. They had a steering kit, they had a brace, they had they had the rear arms, they had a bunch of stuff, a bumper, all kinds of stuff for this, and some of it's still available, but the steering kit is not, as far as I know. And I don't think it was really worth throwing all those aluminum parts on here. I mean, I know there's some people out there that are making nylon 3D printed arms and things like that. I might go with those if I need to, but I don't think it'll be compatible with that brace that would go across from here to here. And these do have some wiggle. You know, that mounting point is pretty narrow, right? It's kind of the inverse of what we're used to. So they have some mechanical advantage there that can apply a lot of stress onto the chassis, onto the gearbox. The other thing was I forgot to mention was it'd be nice if there was a way to extend those little shock mounts longer, kind of upward, so that you get a little bit more mechanical advantage for the shock to push the suspension. But it's not too bad the way it is now. Actually, I like it now. The more I mess with it, I like it. It's just at the end of its capability, there's nothing else I can do with it. If I was able to extend these little arms up, maybe even just a 1/4 inch, it'll move the whole shock up and give you that much more leverage against the arms. And then you could back off on the compression. You could maybe play a little, you'd have that nice damping that I got with the oil, and I'd be able to back off on the spring perhaps, and just have a little bit more freedom to adjust things. Right now it is what it is, but I can't wait to run this. I am going to put a Hobby Wing 1080 in there, I think. I like the Hobby Wing 860 that I have in the Clodbuster, so I was a little anxious to just get something. I wanted to go Tamiya, brushless Tamiya, everything, and then I kind of changed my mind. I had the 860, sorry, the 1080 ESC Hobby Wing, and I returned it. I had the Sport Tune motor, I returned it, and I had the Gens Ace nickel metal hydride 7.2, returned that. I ended up buying it again. It's on its way, the battery, and I ended up buying the ESC again, and it's on its way, and I'm going to run it with that motor. And I do have a brushless 3900 kV setup coming from China. It should be here any month now, and I'll put that in there. It's not a Ghoul, but it looks like the same thing. I thought it was a Ghoul RC, but it's some other brand. But it should be enough to run this, and if I'll just have some flexibility and some extra parts laying around, which would be good, because I do want to get some other buggies at some point. And I'm starting to ramble on here about other things I want to do, but it's a neat looking buggy. It's way smaller than I'm used to compared to this thing, which is massive, and the Clod, which is big. But I think it'll be neat to drive it around. I like the crawl setting on that 860 Hobby Wing for the Clodbuster. It just, it's full blast brake as soon as you let off the throttle. It's nice when you're driving it around the basement to it doesn't run into things as much because the brake just comes on immediately. And I might try playing around with that on this car with the other ESC. It does make it a lot easier to control in the house, which right now is, because it's cold out, I'm doing. Maybe I should run this collage to show you. I don't know if I can do this. We'll see. Turn that on. Hold on a second. Alright, what do I have this set to? I don't think I have this set properly. Let me flip that dip switch. I wonder if I have to shut this off. I don't want to burn this ESC. Let's see. And I'll plug it back in. Let's see what happens. I don't know if I can one-hand drive this. We'll see. Yeah, this is a lot harder than I anticipated. I'm gonna have to stop using my phone for this. But it, like I mentioned before, the steer's great now. I mean, it's a pretty strong servo. I used to run, it was a high torque servo back in the day. It was an Airtronics, I think 156 high torque brass gear servo, and it was probably only like under 200 inch ounces of torque. And I ran the 155, I believe, in the GT, the RC10 GT, which was really fast. Plenty of torque for that. It was just lightning fast. It works. I left it in there though, because like I said, I don't want to cannibalize it too much. I did take that receiver out of it, but that's nothing. So this thing's pretty good with the 27 turns, and it's on 3S right now, which I think if I ran it on 2S it would be pretty slow. But I don't know. Like I said, I can't drive this thing and talk and film. But one thing to note when you're running a BEC on this Claude, when you have that power switch, that has to be on. It'll run with it off, but it'll act weird. It'll be like, it'll have full power, then it won't have full power, and you'll think things slow as a dog. But once it's switched on, everything worked great. I was a little concerned, and I thought, whoa, there's my alarm cable. Let's hook that up. See what I had to. Good thing I got this, because this. Hold on. Oh, mackerel. It's a good thing I got that, because this ESC didn't warn me when one of the cells was down below 3 volts. And as soon as I plugged that in just to see, I was driving it around down here, the alarm went off immediately. So I'm going to run that on one of those from now on all my cars with these cheaper ESCs, just to make sure I don't damage the battery. I have the Castle Creations Mamba Monster ESC and the Yeti, and that works fine. It's got a good BEC inside, and it just shuts down when the voltage drops too much. And it's all programmable, obviously. But I'm pretty happy with these motors and this battery and ESC setup right now. Like I said, it's not super fast outside, but it's quick. It's just not fast. It doesn't have a high top speed. But again, I'm running out of time, and I just figured I'd give you that little demo, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.